And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and a Strandad effect because I can't talk right now. I only just got my coffee brewed, which is probably a really bad idea considering that it's 0:05 a.m. and me drinking coffee now is probably a really bad idea. But then again, I've also been relatively sick for the last couple of days, so And part of this is to follow
self-comfort, self-care.
Yeah. Part of this is to follow through with the old adage that sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm drinking coffee. Hi. And it's good to be with you, of course. As usual, if you'd like to be finding me pretty much everywhere, you can find me under the name Shujin Tribble, Shujin. You've already heard the voices in my head. They're now in yours. For the Midwest of the U.S., I have no idea what the current temperatures are out there. I don't really much care because it's warm indoors for me. Bridget Fitch, good evening.
Good evening. It is currently 0.5 C. I have a nice, warm, snuggly, best Christmas present ever that my husband got for me, that it was the thing I didn't know that I wanted until I had it, and then I was like, oh.
You're not going to give us any more than that, really?
It is an all-in-one heating pad that goes from my neck all the way down to my hips, with a handy little tie that you can tie in the front to keep it wrapped around you. It's very soft. The only issue that I'm having at this point is if I unsnap it and decide to go run to grab a beverage, I forget to untie the waist and try to drag it with. I'll figure it out.
You don't have the brain cells God gave a calico cat.
That's true too. And there are, to borrow a phrase from my husband, there are potted ferns who are more intelligent than I am.
I mean, if you consider that potted used to mean high on weed, sure, yeah, we'll go with that. From the left coast of the U.S., and that was not a speciesist comment I was making before. Io Cloud, good evening, hon. How are you?
I'm doing okay-ish. Last night's nice little scare was fun. My heart decided it wanted to do the races. It was trying to do NASCAR for 2 hours.
Yeah, not fun, that.
No. So I've had a very disgruntled husband giving me the stink eye if I so much as lift a finger all day. So I've just been sitting and crocheting.
And truth be told, I mean, can you blame him?
No, especially with what happened with his first wife.
That's fair. And I just went looking it up because I haven't been at all interested all day because I've been indoors. It is currently -3 in real units of temperature measurement, aka 26 Fahrenheit, because degrees per caliber unit, I guess, is how it all comes out over here. I
Freedom
don't know.
units. Freedom units.
Freedom units.
We'll go with that.
It is 12 Celsius where I am, so it's
comfortable.
It's comfortable but cool.
Yeah.
22 is room temperature. 22 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that depends on the room and what time of day. I mean, my bedroom gets very, very cold at night.
Yeah, and my office, due to the way that the house is situated and the windows are, it gets rather warm in the afternoon and blinds me because I can't see from on my monitors. It's really annoying.
Fair enough.
So
of course.
I've been happily working on a mystery crochet pattern for the last couple of days. And I was halfway done clue number 2 when I realized I made a mistake. and I had to rip it all out, or as the nomenclature is, I had to frog it all the way back to the start of Clue 2. And I've got 3 and a bit rows left.
Fair enough. So, of course, everyone, thank you for being with us. If you'd like to be with us as we record live off of YouTube, of course, you can be part of the live chat over there, which in this case would include Stephanie, who beat us all to the punch. Well done. Very good. I was fashionably late for reasons of brewing coffee. And Felis, good to have you back. Hello there.
Oh, hey, Felis. Hi, Stephanie.
Forgot to do something.
Yes, you did.
Bridget.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to go ahead and imagine Io with a couple of pom-poms, that's perfectly fine.
Actually, what I was doing is I had my hands in front of me, holding up the crochet that I had, or have in my hands, and the chair that I was sitting on was going back and forth, side to side.
And the irony is when
Office chairs, they're fun.
Oh, they are, and mine spins in circles. It's a lot of fun. But I don't know if it's coincidentally or not. I won't mention time frame, but I actually used to be a cheerleader a long time ago. I still have a ceramic, I don't know what you call it, figurine that the coach had handed out to us. It's got my name on it, the appropriate school colors and little pom-poms. It's been broken a couple of times, but I still have it.
I tried to be a cheerleader in my junior high, and I got told that I was too heavy, but the heaviest girl was at least another 10 to 20 pounds heavier than I was. I even told them my mother could probably make me a skirt. Oh, no, you can't. Your grades aren't good enough, you're too heavy, and you don't know how to do gymnastics. And I looked at them and said, I've been doing gymnastics since I was in preschool.
I mean, those 3 kilograms make all the difference in the world.
Well, we had to
we
had to have patterns and have them sewn ourselves, but that was way a long time ago.
Yeah, my mother would have probably made skirts for all the girls because that was something that she would have done.
Mm-hmm.
But no, and I think I actually know the real reason why. I couldn't make the morning practices. I would have had to have been out waiting for the bus at 6 a.m. to get to the school for 7 a.m. And there was no bus again until 7 a.m., which would get me there at 8 a.m. So either I would be there for half an hour with nobody to supervise me in the cold and in the rain, or I would be a half hour late.
Yeah, that'd be uncomfortable for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Just to cover all bases, some folks might be kind of wondering, okay, so what's with the outfit tonight? Yes, I am wearing a fluffy pink and white bathrobe because that's the kind of day that it's been all day. I put on this button-up shirt, well, not even a button-up shirt, this V-neck shirt for you. Yes, I'm channeling my cousin Vinny, and yes, as a matter of fact, this was my wife's. So it's one of the few things of hers that fits me.
And that's the first thing you were wearing when we did our initial tryout and interview for why I joined the show, remember?
I don't.
Yeah.
You do. Me too.
Yeah, poor Shu is sick with the flu or something.
Well, I didn't judge, and he looked all nice and cozy and comfy.
Yep.
I blame the people that infected him.
Well, and that could go a couple of different ways. Basically, what happened is my Saturdays are usually my day out. Literally the only time when I go out to be social. The rest of the week, I'm at work for a 9-hour shift through the week, 5 days, because there's reasons for that. We'll just save it for there. And one of the guys at work had a tickle in his throat that he ended up leaving early for earlier in the week. Not this week, previous week. And this past Saturday, folks that I would normally get together with, I got a text message in the morning on the way to work that they tested positive. So I, fortunately, had a mask in my car anyway, so I had been wearing that, and I was okay. Friday, I had a little, Thursday, I was feeling a little something, wasn't quite sure. Friday morning, it wasn't great, but it wasn't like at death's door or nothing like that. And I just decided, you know what? Probably better that I just call off. I know that my direct supervisor would be in for opening anyway, so safer for everybody involved. I take a couple of days off. He's already told me a couple of times, well, you know, you've got sick time. I mean, you got nothing to worry about there, but I'm the opener, so it always feels weird for me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put the shop in that position, but at the same time, so yesterday I decided, you know what, I'll just take the day off because safer for everybody. And unfortunately, I don't have any test units in the house, so I can't test myself. But at the same time, you know what, it would take me almost a half an hour to get to where the shop is, and subsequently the locations where I would normally be doing any like actual grocery shopping and such. So I figured, you know what, I'll have a couple of days off and I'll go in Monday. I'll still mask, and after work I can hit the grocery store, get myself tests, and well, I need to get a thing of olive oil too, so it's might as well. Yeah. So for right now, do I think that I've gotten a positive? I don't think so. I really don't. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to rule it out. So safer than sorry. And if it's just, you know, just a thing, whatever. I don't really take time off for being sick. I mean, hell, I didn't take time off when I was like hurting when I first started this job because I was so sore from the moving around and in the midst of losing 100 pounds in that first year, by the way. So, yeah, I was unfortunately 3 1/4, shall we say, and I'm now plateauing at 230. I could still lose some more, but you know, I could probably.
Well, honestly, I think you should not go into work unless you've got a negative test. Better to be safe than sorry, because if I know anything about thrift shops, a lot of the people that go to thrift shops are the people that don't have the resources to get sick.
To a certain degree, yeah. But the bright side to it, if you will, for me, is that my job leaves me outside 90% of the time. So I'm not terribly concerned, but at the same time, so noted. I will consider leaving a little bit early so that I can go to the grocery store, you know, ahead of my shift, get a test, take it, and be certain. Because if I've got to be out that way anyway, it'll be what it'll be.
I think that's probably the most ethical decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's better to be safe than sorry, because there's multiple COVID variants out there. There's multiple flu variants out there. There's now the avian flu out there, which can be passed from birds to cats to humans.
Yep, saw that.
And tuberculosis. Yay! There's a flare-up, as well as measles.
Woohoo!
And don't forget monkey. So
that's true.
Yeah.
So.
monkey
Yeah.
mpox is
Mpox
out
is a
there.
thing.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
See,
things.
I could have caught something too, which would have made my heart go, ha.
Yeah, so let's hopefully not have to deal with any of that.
Yeah.
How about I go ahead, get everything rolling, and we can actually get into the meat and potatoes of trying to figure out what we are going to talk about, because,
There's.
exactly. So let me go ahead and do that. With 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle is going to start right now. SUNDAE. And I know I've talked about this before. SUNDAE. This Sunday coming up, not the one that I'm recording on, because it's the way it works. Next week, I believe, is going to be the day when I'm going to be going out to Antoinettes. Now, if you look in the show notes, you'll see the first link that's in there is for the confectioners out here. When I first moved up here, it was a place that my wife took me out to. One of the local places out here in the Buffalo area. Antoinettes is delicious. It truly is. They make their own chocolate stuff. They have their own fudge. They make their own ice cream and whipped cream, all in-house. So when I say that it's a treat, oh, it truly is. So we kind of had a little bit of a tradition that every once in a while, it would be quite a while between, but we would go there and we'd get a little something for Halloween, for Valentine's Day. That was kind of the thing that we did. Because, Valentine's Day, why not? Well, with her passing, of course, I kind of, not exactly, but kind of brought the tradition back for the little one and myself. And the idea was, on a weekend, we would go to Antoinette's. We would get, go in the lunch hour, give or take, and we would get a big ice cream something from them. And that would be the lunch and dinner meal for the day, because a lot of calories. No need to eat anything more. Snack on a couple of things here and there, but, whatever. But for me, it was always the same thing. It was the Greek mint sundae. And if you look at their ice cream list, the second page, all the way at the bottom, in the center. That's my jam. I love it. And when I was a kid, after we had a music performance, everybody would end up, seemingly everybody from the school, would end up over at Friendly's. Now, of course, as we know full well here in the U.S., and I don't know on Canada, Friendly's ice cream, unfortunately, has gone defunct. I don't know that they have any more actual stores, but be that as it may. But when I would go there, I'd always get the same thing. And when we went to Brooklyn to go see my grandparents, if they took us for ice cream, still got the same thing. I got a hot fudge sundae because that's what I liked. Good vanilla ice cream, good chocolate, nuts, sprinkles, whipped cream. You can keep the cherry though. I don't like cherries. But it's comfort. In a way, it's kind of comfort food. And that's not exactly the healthiest thing in the world for that to be comfort food, because it's all too easy to just, binge on that too much. Lord knows I've had that problem on occasion. You ask me about summer sausage and figure it out from there. So, for some, this upcoming week, Valentine's Day coming up, some are going to celebrate it with others, one way or another. Some can't, the way that they'd like to, and some just simply are sick and tired of the whole damn thing and just leave me alone at Singles Awareness Day. I get that. I respect that. I understand that as well as anybody. But maybe, just maybe, there's a place to just say, you know what, just for me. Maybe share the experience with somebody else, but regardless, just for me, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to indulge just a little bit. And I hope that you get that opportunity. But just remember, as far as to the best flavor of ice cream, bar none, a well done, properly done French vanilla or actual vanilla bean vanilla is the best. Period. There will be no arguments. There will be no discussion. Which one is the better of the two? Depends on what your mood is. But if you can do it, if you can afford it, and if you can find it, that's gonna be just the way to make things just a little bit smiley for you. Whatever you celebrate this week coming up, I hope you enjoy it. And I hope it fulfills part of your soul. You know what I mean. So, yeah, like I said, over in the show notes, I don't know that you guys, Bridget, I don't know that you had the opportunity to see it. Like I said, the link is in the show notes already on the YouTube feed itself. But, oh man, the stuff that Antoinettes has got, the only chocolatier that I actually miss over in England is Thornton's. And I've talked about this before. They don't have listed on their website anymore these cappuccino bars that they used to have a long time ago. But if they still had them, I would max out whatever I had available for discretionary capital. And I don't have any discretionary capital. So, yeah. Chocolate is a vice. And you know what? Chocolate's good. How about we do the horrible scopes and we get rolling? Get everything organized on my side. There we go. So I got everything shining in my face because that's the way that Google Docs is, which annoys me to no end because it blinds me every time. You guys over there on YouTube? Yeah, I know. There's nothing I can do about it because Google Docs is stupid that way. They don't have a dark mode. Thanks, Google. Appreciate that.
What's this organization you speak of?
Actually, like clicking...
I have none.
Well, I do, but it's got everything to do with which tab I hit. I need to make sure that I hit the Google Docs tab, not the one that's got the porn on it, or the other one with the porn on it.
You don't look at porn.
To paraphrase from a wonderful personage of Brooklynese descent, at least as far as his voice is concerned, she don't know me very well, do she?
Oh, I know. Every single man I've ever met has a porn stash.
Excuse me. It's a Van Dyke. Thank you very much. It's not a goatee. It's a Van Dyke because it is the entire thing. I do not have a porn stash because I am not from the 70s.
I'm not talking porn stash as porn mustache.
What you did there.
I'm talking porn stash as in that enclave of pretty pictures that they want to keep all to themselves.
See, you make it sound...
making a pun, hun.
Sort of. And you say it this way like I have like a cachet of porn. No, I don't. It's all perfectly there. It's not like buried in C/System32/fax and documents / oh God, I forgot what the... No, I'll remember it later. I've got a thing about that. For the horrible scopes, those of you that know your astrological sign, cool, you've been waiting long enough. It's almost time that we get along to that, so let's go ahead and do that. And by the way, if you want to selectively randomize your own astrological sign, you can do it by time travel and changing your birth date, or just get a D12 with the squiggles on it and get that from the nice guys over there at Heart of the Game, Fredonia. They'll sell it to you, maybe even ship it. I can't promise anything because I don't work for them. They just don't send me a cease and desist letter. Heart of the Game, Fredonia. Hail, hail, Fredonia. Home of the Blue Devil. I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Right now, I do not know where the mimic is. I don't really want to answer. I don't want to.
Don't be a mimic. Don't be a mimic.
For all I know, it could be this CD that I've got here of the theme, the music from Animaniacs.
I had that CD.
I have that CD. And is it? No, not the mimic. Okay, so good. We're good this week. So these horrible scopes.
Don't be a mimic. Don't be a mimic.
Will be releasing on the 13th. So just in time for Valentine's Day, aka Jack Benny's 39th birthday. And even though we'd like to make this all about Jack, we're interested instead in either romantic or unromantic vacation destinations for y'all to visit. You ready to roll the dice and see who gets what? Doesn't matter, because we're just going to go ahead and do it anyway, whether you like it or not. And I know that I will. Aries.
I'm doing Aries.
Okay, then.
I would have to mess with the order.
Well, it says my name first, so...
That was from
Point-seated.
last night.
You should have changed it.
I'd never have to.
Fine, you can do it.
Aries, the god of warfare. Imagine that. Settled in the 1970s by an Italian banker named Gianfranco Brignone. Keep forgetting how to pronounce it because Italian and Spanish have got slightly different pronunciations, and I keep screwing it up in my own head. We're sending you to Costa Careyes, Mexico. And my pronunciations are just horrid all over the place today. Jesus. One visit to the private community and you'll understand how it made our list of one of the most romantic getaways in the world. The resort is home to both residences and a hotel, plus on-site dining options, wellness programming, pristine and swimmable beaches without cruise ship disruptions, and prime views of the Pacific. So this week, we're still in the winter season, so plan on taking an early day whale watching trip and enjoy the sun. Assuming that you don't get seasick, of course.
Taurus. If sightseeing for Baroque and neoclassical architecture is more your style, may we humbly suggest Madrid, Spain? You'll have no shortage of luxury and beauty to experience in Plaza Mayor while indulging in churros con chocolate from Saint Jean's. But if you do end up looking for more, you can always explore the walkable neighborhood of Salamanca. So this week, remember to eat your feet while in Spain. Trust us, that joke is funny if you speak Spanish.
I didn't want to do this one, but Gemini! If necromancy is your thing, and you love to gaze on a skeletal arm, outside the whole Halloween thing, how about taking a trip to Malta? We're not going to give you specifics on where to go, but if you head into the countryside, you might find an old church with a silver arm on display. Christians are weird. This is not exactly a quest item, but supposedly inside of that arm is St. Paul the Apostle's wrist bone. They're really weird. So this week, it's only 259 days from Valentine's Day until Halloween. Have you started your preparation work yet? Come on! Tick tock, tick shot clock's ticking. It'll be Halloween sooner than you know.
And as far as to Christians being really, really uncomfortable to be around, Dallin had said that I think he said there were 2 times he had ever been to Catholic Mass, and he was really weirded out because everybody was like standing, sitting, kneeling like robots all en masse, and he's like, "The fuck's going on here?"
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of it myself. Cancer Moon Child, for the impatient of you, this will sound like it's a romantic outing. For others, well, we're suggesting a trip to visit a sex museum in St. Petersburg, Russia. The first of its kind in the country, by the way. You'll be able to look over all kinds of artifacts, photos, and pleasure devices from history, some that might even be worth it today. So this week, they claim to have Grigory Rasputin's dismembered member stored away in the back room. It's possible it's just part of a giant pig that's been removed, but hey, that's just a question for another time. I don't want to visit to find out.
Leo, despite its family-friendly appeal, Cabo San Lucas, Mexico makes for a romantic getaway. They've recently added all-inclusive resorts, buzzworthy hotels, and new restaurants along its Golden Corridor. So if you have a family, you might have a great time, even with the little ones. Expect to choose between outdoor activities like golfing, boating, and lounging around on golden beaches. So this week, you could take a flight from San Diego down, but if you drive instead, it'll be a solid 2 days of travel. The bright sides to that are lots of seaside traveling and a potential stop in Tijuana. And before you ask, no, that is not a thing. You know what we're talking about.
Virgo, if you'd like to actually maybe speak the language, why not take a trip to the west coast of Ireland and visit the city of Galway? It's a bustling local town with a thriving lineup for theater, food, literature, and more. It's also part of the Wild Atlantic Way, which is home to otherworldly scenery, including the famed Cliffs of Moher and Connemara National Park with its bogs, lakes, and natural beauty, and dead bodies that you find in the bog. So this week, we'll suggest booking well in advance at Ashford Castle. It dates back to the 12th century and has been converted into a 5-star property. Considering it's a little late, you might want to book accommodations for next year instead.
I'm sure there are no dead bodies in there, especially no horse bodies in there.
They keep finding bodies in the bogs.
Horse body in the bog. It's always going to be too soon for that joke, isn't it?
Yes.
That joke just never ends. Libra.
This is a song that never ends. I'll fight back.
Bali, Indonesia is far beyond a one-and-done romantic destination. Even though it's teeming with tourists, it's also a perfect seclusion getaway destination. You'll have gorgeous villas, delicious food, welcoming hospitality, and a plethora of natural beauty that makes for all sorts of activities if the outside is your thing. So this week, one of the offerings is sunrise yoga. If you're planning on sleeping in, that might not be worth waking up for, but the coffee will be amazing.
Scorpio, sumptuous and worth savoring. The Masai Mara in Kenya is an amazing place. If you appreciate nature, wildlife, and the thrills of safari, you'll love this region. Start the morning with a cup of coffee, a wrapped blanket, and a chill of excitement rippling through the gorgeous African landscape. And if safari isn't your thing, maybe take in a hot air balloon at dawn where you watch lions feasting and frolicking in the morning light, or a dazzle of a zebra grazing at the acacia trees. welcome you to the distance. So this week, yes, acacia, this is where acacia trees are a real thing and not just a Minecraft thing. We really need to get out more often.
You need to go play some Minecraft. Sagittarius, just outside of Lisbon, Portugal, is the precinct of Sintra, where couples will find themselves in a fairy tale-like setting under the Moorish castle and the yellow turrets of the Pena Palace. Local boutique properties nearby, many facing the palace, are decorated with palatial period architecture, adding to the historic experience. So this week, don't think your 4 years of Spanish are going to be useless here, but you'll still be frustrated. Take your time reading the menus.
Yeah, I've heard how people have said, yeah, I know Spanish. Portuguese is kind of not.
Portuguese is not Spanish.
No, they're close.
But not the same.
Capricorn, if you're ever in Nassau, Bahamas and want a very unromantic dinner date, go check out the Grey Cliff Hotel's wine collection. You'll have a choice to make. Would you like to buy a house or a bottle of wine? Because you're looking at a cost of like $200,000. But at least you'll be able to say you ate a meal in a dungeon while looking at a bottle of wine you couldn't afford. So this week, that bottle of wine is super dusty because it's super old. It'd probably taste absolutely revolting. Save your money. Just ask for a glass of water.
Aquarius. Basically, everybody knows the southwest of the U.S. is a pretty haunted place. Would you like to be haunted in your bed and breakfast by an angry cat, for example? Most would say no. But we know some of you would find it great, since, hairball cleanup. Some even claim they have prostitutes, poker players, and headless revolutionaries as spirits to keep you company. So this week, look, if you wanted to spend the night imagining there were people watching your escapades, you could just stay home and open your window shades. It's a lot cheaper.
You could always just turn on your webcam.
Good point.
Yep. And finally, Pisces. You're maybe the kinkiest one of the whole group. Visit downtown Cartagena, Colombia, and spend a few nights visiting a beautiful colonial home advertised as a history museum. Just know that the history it's a museum for is, torture devices. The museum is called the Palacio de la Inquisizione, the Inquisition Museum. Actually, the translation seems to be more like Palace of the Inquisition, but hey. And it's located in an otherwise perfectly respectable area. If Spanish torture method... Drink. If Spanish torture methods from the 16th century are your thing, and apparently the stars think they are, enjoy walking through this unassuming colonial-style house with your paramour. It's a perfect walk. So please, 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 this week, do not tell the tour guide that they have a nice rack. They've heard that joke hundreds of thousands of times. Behave yourself.
Those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you like what you got, cool, don't care. But, of course, if you'd like to get something nicer or naughtier for yourself or someone else, you can bribe me by asking. I operate primarily on vanity. Or, of course, you can always bribe me over on Coffee. Coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. I'll have these posted online at the end of the week. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, Blue Sky, and apparently Coffee wants to run a 100% discount offer for folks to sell something or other. So I'm going to be looking into that because there's a cash prize for somebody that gets selected randomly for following through on that.
Hey, you can't win if you don't play.
That's true. That's true. But then again, considering that I don't really expect very much of anything, and 100% discount means that it goes from $1 to nothing. I mean, sure, yeah, why not? This episode,
Jab an eye with a sharp stick.
there you go. Episode 527 on the docket, Your Honor. Insert topic here. Because of brain being a little on the sickly side, I could not decide what I wanted to talk about. So I decided I was going to kind of open it up to whatever. We go where we go. We float through whatever we float through. We truncate whatever we feel is just, I don't even want to bother with. Or we delve a little bit deeper into whatever we decide that we want to. So you guys over there on the chat, you've got a perfect opportunity to throw stuff our way also that we can react to and see where it goes from here. I believe it or not, this was the second idea of what I wanted to talk about. The first topic idea that I was originally going to be going with was, and I was trying to figure out how to put a title to it, was the idea of that we non-religious tend to be better read up on religious texts than those who claim to be part of said religion. Most of us who are atheists now, especially in the U.S. or North America, we'll say, tended to be Christian growing up because that's what our families were, and it's the biggest, by far, the biggest religious sect in the North American area. So most of us didn't exactly read as much as we did when we were involved until we got out or on our way out. And I just think it's really funny that for many of us, we know these texts a hell of a lot better because, you know, the whole donkey horse penis thing, the whole kids getting their dad drunk so that they can rape him thing. Yeah, that's not in the Bible. Oh, it's in the Bible. Yeah, how did you not know that before? And I just thought that it was really funny because there are people who are doing the whole man on the street interviews or woman on the street interviews with people who are just ready for all these book banning things. And well, what do you think about books that talk about bestiality or about getting their dad drunk so that they can have sex with him to have a baby? And I'm against that. Okay, good. That's a vote against the Bible. What? Love these people. So, Bridget, I'm hitting you first because how much fun was it when Heretic Woman was still, you know, alive and would be leaning back and forth and cackling like crazy, reading from whatever web page, Bible pages she had opened and recounting the passage from, all right, now remind me, Ezekiel 23?
I think it's Ezekiel 23:20, but
It's something like that.
close enough. I can find it.
Oh, I know that we've got it somewhere. It should
Either
probably
23:20 or 28:20, and I
No,
can't remember off the
no,
top of my head.
it's either 22 or 23. So
It's
it
23 then.
probably. But yeah, you remember how much fun she had cackling like a little. I don't. Well, I mean, she was little, but I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It was so much fun because these people have literally no idea that it's in there.
Yeah, and that's one of those that I like to toss around out into the ether and warn people if you have no idea what this is, do not Google it at work because it's not safe for work.
Yeah, even if it is the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. And then people get curious and are like, wait,
Oh.
what? And I used to get tickled when Miss Ashley would, when she was reading it for the first time,
the hitty titties.
And yeah, Miss Hitty Titties, yes.
Yes.
And then she would read over something and she's like, whoa, 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 back up the bus. And then she would reread it and just like, wow.
Yep.
I had no idea that was even in there.
And Lexa's coming through. Hi, by the way. Good to see you over there. Lexa has come through. It is indeed Ezekiel 23:20. There she lusted after her lovers, whose genitals were like those of donkeys, and whose emissions was like that of horses. Yes, people will go ahead and remind us it's supposed to be a representation of how different two different countries were supposed to be in conjunction to. I don't care. I don't care.
But the Miss Hitty Titties and the Malakitties just cracked me up.
Yeah.
You will have to live with that forever live in the ether.
Yeah. So I understand about this. Once upon a time ago, one of our sister podcasts, on No Religion Required.
It was by Bobby.
Bobby and Ashley. And Bobby was having Ashley literally read the Bible with him. And they recorded it. And she just read it cold. I don't remember if it was that she hadn't in like forever or literally never had. And she comes up to this word that she had a hard time reading it through and sounding it out. And it was the hitty titties.
It was the Amalekites and the Hittites, and she mispronounced them trying to read it cold, like you said, and called them the Amalekites and the Hitty Titties.
So
I was listening to that while I was working, and I was just played.
It was great, and there were a number of passages where she's just reading it through, and she's just like, oh my God, this is it. Oh, this is dirty. Yeah. And before anybody gets on my case about it, oh yeah, Ashley was absolutely, she would absolutely be agreeing with me. I do not sound like, oh wait, yeah, I do, don't I? All right. You got a pass on this one.
Strong Georgian accent.
Yes, that lady. And also short. So reminding y'all, I would not be saying this if I thought for a second that I couldn't outrun that little girl. So yeah.
When we met at one of the cons, I can't even remember what it was.
It was ReasonCon.
Oh yeah. And yeah, she and Heretic Woman and
we all
hit it off. Wow. Well, I was not even the shortest out of the bunch, and I'm short.
Yep.
How short are you?
In Barbarian, 4 foot 11 and 3/4 inches.
Oh, so I'd be looking down on you at my 5'3".
Yes.
5'4".
Yes. You would.
Don't worry.
And I think
wouldn't actually be looking down on you. I'd probably just be in awe in your presence.
Well, usually the issues that I have, and I'm sure that Lucinda has run into this as well, is people that are taller tend to not see you, especially if they're wearing glasses. And so I get walked into, and not intentionally. This used to happen to me at the skating rink when I was younger. People just literally did not see me because I was not in their field of vision.
My ex-roommate was
I have to be very defensive walking and interacting with people so they don't run into me.
My ex-roommate was something like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" with shoes on. And I would be following him all over Vancouver, and for every one of his steps, I'd be taking 2 or 3, basically running to keep up with him.
He was your icebreaker.
There was a couple of times where I grabbed him and I used my weight to slow him down to my speed.
Well,
he said he was trying to learn how to walk like Han Solo. He missed. He walks like Chewbacca.
No, not to dive too deep in that rabbit hole, but I will because we're already there, right?
Sure.
You get shorter, over time. I am no longer 4'11" and 3 inches. That's more like 4'10" now. Let's just say when I have to go grocery shopping or etc., then I am bold enough to ask some random person, hey, rather than having me try to climb up the shelves, can you please get this for me? Or I will grab something from an adjacent aisle that's longer, and if it's not gonna break whatever is on top, then I will knock it into my hand myself and replace the other object that I used. I'm creative that way.
Yeah. Grocery stores. Let's make sure that you guys have a little something on this one. There are some grocery stores where they have umbrellas for the people when the weather gets bad, so that you can, go back outside with your shopping cart and have a good umbrella, and you just stick it into the little receptacle in the cart return, which we're all using the cart return corrals, right?
Nope.
I do.
I don't.
Folks, how about if you're going to provide those, how about having a bunch of high grabby sticks for people who might be shorter, who might need them? Nice little, sticks with metal rubber grabbers up on the top so that people can actually, there's something on the top. Let me go ahead and grab it, pull it down, so that it's easier this way. People, it's not difficult to do this. Don't put heavy stuff up there.
Well,
I don't return carts, not because I'm vile, evil, and whatnot about carts. The ones that have coins, I will return. But because I usually have to park in the handicap spots, I leave the cart there so that the next person who might be handicapped doesn't have to go and try and find a cart. I leave it usually up against the pole that holds the handicap sign. And I don't consider that a bad thing. I consider that me being courtesy to the next person who has to use it, because some people who are handicapped, they can walk the 100 feet. They can do the grocery store walk if they have a cart to push.
Yep.
But they need that cart from where they park their car.
Well, that's different than just leaving it in the middle of the parking lot to where people can back into it. That's a whole nother thing.
Yep.
But
yeah, I don't do that.
But I figured out the hard way. One of the reasons why they do have height requirements to enlist in the military. I did get a waiver, and it is on my DD-214 for 1/4 of an inch. I kid you not. And paid the price for that on 2 occasions. One was doing the obstacle course. You were only allowed to fail 2 and, pass. And we already had a heads up from other people who would come in and pull night guard duty and things that if you miss the second to last one, you will miss the last one. So the rest of them were crucial. When it came time to get over that high wall, I jumped as hard and as high as I could, but could only get my fingertips over it. And the drill sergeant, well, it was a TI, but I'm trying to use terminology people would be familiar with or may have heard of. You know, said airman in this big booming voice. He was a huge, huge booming, guy. And he said, "You have 3 seconds to get your ass over that damn wall." And he turned his back slowly and said, 1, 2, 3. And he turned back around, and the taller women in my flight literally grabbed me by my boots and threw me over that wall, and I face planted. And I got up, and he said, "Congratulations, Airman, you passed." And I said, "Thank you, sir." And he said, "Don't thank me. Thank your damn recruiter. He's the one who sent you here." And I said, "I'll thank him too, sir." And I took off running. And sure enough, the last 2 obstacles were grabbing the rope to swing across this really slimy, swampy pond. It was disgusting. And the next one after that, and I failed that one, went into the swamp. And the next one up was monkey bars. Now, with soaking wet hands, do you think there's any way to pass the monkey bars?
Yes, there is, but it's only involving meat hooks.
Right. So thanks to people who have been there and done that were willing to, spread the word, I had a heads up, and it was very helpful. And Sergeant Harwell, shout out to you. Don't know if you're still, alive or with us, but he knew the name of the game and what they were doing. And he gave me that opportunity because teamwork is one of the things you learn in basic training. Because there was no way any of us could have made it through everything alone, and that was the purpose. But the other side of that is having flat feet and having to run in combat boots. The way that the flights were arranged were the tallest 2 got in the front, the shortest 2 got in the back. So the tallest ones would hold up what we called Lackland lasers. They were glow sticks, and they would, stop the traffic. And then the ones in the back had to run to the front and hold up their Lackland lasers. And so because I was a shortest and got in the back and was flat-footed and running in combat boots, I had shin splints like a mother.
My father was a drill sergeant, or whatever they call them, in the Marines. And I told him I was thinking about going into the armed forces because that would really piss off my mother, the so-called pacifist, if her daughter went into any form of armed forces. And he put me through a couple of the drills and said, "Yeah, there's something wrong with your back and your gait." And I said, "Well, could it have been when I fell through the swing the year earlier?" "Yeah, that would have done it. You probably broke your back." So, yeah.
Nothing like having a cavalier statement like, "Yeah, you probably broke your back."
Well, I think I did because of how I landed, how unconscious I was, how I couldn't move my legs, and yet my mother and my grandfather picked me up and took me inside and told me to wait for my grandmother to check me out. My grandmother took one look at my face, ignored my back, and sent me to bed. "You're fine. Go sleep."
It's not problematic at all.
No! So, yeah. I have issues with my biological family, and they all stem from that moment. There's other minor things, but that one moment when I really needed them to get me to a hospital and get me seen. No, my mother didn't want to do that because the next day we were traveling back from Ontario to BC through Detroit. She wanted me to see the slums of Detroit. Why Detroit? I have no clue.
Sure. You know what? That actually works out to be a great segue moment now. Let's have a couple of moments to appreciate the people who've decided that they're going to resist in one of the nicest ways possible right now in the political hellscape that is our political hellscape. The folks over there who've been dealing with the health departments at the federal level, who have gone ahead and been told, thou shalt take down these pieces of information from public-facing websites. And, stuff just mysteriously pops back up again for at least a little while. I couldn't tell you how that could possibly happen, but thank you, people who are doing the Lord's work, shall we say. I know we don't really believe that, but that's the expression. Just go with it for a little bit. Don't give me shit. And I think
now, why would I give you shit about how these people have been using the Wayback Machine and the Internet Archives in order to make sure that the data is still there, because health and human safety is far more important than whether or not somebody's poor little diaper has been changed recently.
See, thank you. That was the other piece. For those of you that don't know about the Wayback Machine, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool and utility. It won't handle everything, not everything, but it handles a lot of stuff. And if you're looking for information that maybe doesn't seem to exist currently, it's a good bet the Wayback Machine's got it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there are a number of locations where entire websites have been literally just archived and put out there for people to just acquire for themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to that angle, let's also thank the nice folks over there at Wikipedia.
Yes. I even threw some money their way. I don't have much disposable income, but I dropped them $5. It's
Wikipedia.
Yes.
Wikipedia, when I had money, I supported. This was about 5-6 years ago. I threw them some money. I still get, can you throw us more money? Which is fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Wikipedia is a good source. The Wayback Machine and the Internet Archive, I think they also accept donations. And Stephanie pointed out the courts are on our side, or on your side, being American or living in the United States. I think it is 11 injunctions and counting so far. All of those executive orders that were signed, they're getting overturned one by one, or stayed, or stopped, or whatever. Oops! Does somebody need it?
Works. Yes.
Does somebody need his diaper changed?
So I just literally pulled up, because Wikipedia does actually have a page, size of Wikipedia. And I just pulling it up now. The size of the English Wikipedia can be measured in terms of the number of articles, number of words, number of pages, and the size of the database, amongst other ways. As of 9 February, meaning currently,
today,
there are 6,951,772 articles, 7 million articles in the English Wikipedia, containing over 4.8 billion words. Total number of pages is 62.5 million pages. As of 16 October, so a couple months ago, the size of the current version of all articles compressed is about 24 gigabytes without media. It is entirely possible for people to download the entirety of Wikipedia's text and store it on a thumb drive.
Wow.
And reminding you that Wikipedia, though not 100% accurate, is arguably the most accurate resource product mankind has ever produced.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just there.
It's a good starting point.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. It's an amazing resource. Wikipedia
should have been called the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
Mark
Close
II.
to it. Mark
Mhm.
II, yeah.
Mark II or V2 or something along those lines. The what people don't understand is that Wikipedia is a collaborative effort of just people. Now, yes, for various different articles, there are people who are actual, versed in whatever the topic is, and they've studied it, and they put information in there that's good information. But it's not the vast majority of the stuff that's in there. It's people who have an interest, not necessarily, studious, but they like doing research. They like doing writing. They like helping because you're helping. They're not getting a paycheck out of it. They're just doing because for them it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And holy hell, the fact that you could have what is effectively the entire knowledge, so to speak, of the human race to date on a piece of thinking rock the size of your thumbnail. I mean, come on, that's freaking outrageous.
And then there's the the Minecraft servers, that you can download,
Yes.
the maps that you can download that have book archives that are illegal in countries. Oh, it's just a download of a map. There's nothing important in here. Yet there's all this information that's been archived for people because that's what they did.
Yep. And part of that is because if you live in a region where some of these books have been banned, made illegal, whatever, you could conceivably be able to read them by using these maps that otherwise don't show up on a very easily found source of, scraping of internet information.
I saw earlier, a rant by AOC about how these books were banned. I think it was in Florida. And she was ranting about what the books were. And one of them is about two penguin dads. And I know the author because I follow him on TikTok and on YouTube.
Okay.
He's going blind, and yet because of his devices that he has for accessibility, he was able to illustrate a couple of books before he's permanently lost his sight. He still hasn't yet, but he's getting there close. And his book is banned because it's two penguin dads, two gay dads.
Because of course it is.
One of the other books that she mentioned was the Song of Solomon. I was laughing my ass off. It's like, oh, so the Bible's banned down there in Florida. Okay. I might have the state wrong, but I think it was Florida that she mentioned.
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw this out here for people to noodle over because, I hang out in, affected areas that are, expressing some concern and outrage and wondering what a quote unquote workaround will be. One of the keywords that the AI is currently scraping or rejecting, or however you want to think of it, censoring, is the word barrier. Barrier. So there are, researchers and concerned, people that are, one, at risk, due to losing their data. And two, thinking, okay, if that word is censored, then how do we do research and submit publications on the blood-brain barrier, the barrier reefs, any of that? And they're like, this is the current terminology that we use in scientific publications. What is the workaround?
Like the breast cancer
Mm-hmm.
Because breast is banned.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant.
Vagina, vulva, the anatomy of a female, the anatomy of a male, all banned because you could be looking at porn.
Well, there are also certain keywords that are also, sending out, being scrubbed due to the AI algorithms that the felon and the rat are using. And the felon really is not aware. He doesn't give a shit. The rat, I think we know who we're referring to.
No idea
Muskrat?
whatsoever.
Yeah, no idea who that person would be.
No idea.
Is scrubbing out other keywords that are affecting cohort studies and public health. Oddly enough, the word male is not one of those words. Isn't that interesting? So what are the implications there?
You know what? If we're going to go that angle, that route, I'm going to bring something up because it's pissing me off, and it's been pissing me off since I saw the picture. I don't remember exactly what day it was. It might have been last week. It might have been this week. I don't know, because this entire hellscape has blurred into one big slurry of fuck. I'm sorry. Should I not have said it that way? I'm sorry. I thought the purpose of communicative language was to express an idea that is easily understood by the recipients.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in the lobby of some federal building, I do believe that the equivalent of meat paper, I guess might be the best way of putting it, butcher's paper, has been used to cover up 2 pictures, I believe, in the lobby of some federal agency or other. I forget if it was to cover up a person or if it was supposed to cover up a statement. But the idea that people have decided that statements, things like justice, would be a word that needed to be removed from active visibility seems a little, what's the word that I'm looking for here? Shitty. I think that's a
What
good
a
start.
coincidence.
And also, if you happen to have a copy of the Constitution, make sure it's in paper form.
Yes.
Because there's hijinks and shenanigans afoot.
Mm-hmm.
We know it. Legal AF knows it. Yes, I do watch Legal AF. I watch the Meidas Touch. I watch a couple other places. It's gotten to the point where I just can't watch any of the mainstream news anymore.
Mm-mm. I can't. I
Because,
refuse.
well, it's not so much that I refuse, it's I need to watch Canadian news because Canadian news shows different things than American news.
Yep. Hence a side-by-side comparison of headlines from a U.S. media source and a Sydney Morning Herald source, sharing the same information, but the headlines were quite distinct and different. Sydney Morning Herald was a lot more blunt and to the point with their headline versus what our version was. And I just found it kind of interesting and shared it out.
What's interesting is there's protests all over the world, not just in the Americas, about what's going on. And it's not being reported on the U.S. soil. U.S. media is ignoring it. Now let's do the Super Bowl. Let's do this award show. Let's do whatever his name is. and how his wife was naked at the awards show.
Oh, they're still trying to interview families from the figure skaters on the plane crash. Which one? I can't remember if it was first or second, since there have been so many
Yeah,
recently
there's
for
been about
some odd reason.
six plane crashes and a train crash where the train, well, not crash, but the train caught on fire with
Yeah,
commuters.
yeah, I saw that one too. And it's intentional, which is the scary part.
Intentional or not.
It is. This is some future historian who has a lot more insight than I do, or the ones that I follow, will come up with some future concept for our unique set of circumstances. The one that I am using at the moment is Kakistocracy, because there is no one size fits all term for it. And if you are not familiar with that term, Wikipedia has an extensive website. All you have to do is put in the key term, see if I can spell, since I'm like, before I tell you bad info, I'm gonna make sure that, because I'm fluent in typo.
I think we all are. For me, it's the reports about the coup d'etat that's happening
Yeah, this
with the muskrat
is,
and his buddies.
if any, I will drop a Wikipedia link to the definition, but a kakistocracy is a government run by the worst, least qualified, or most unscrupulous citizens. The word was coined as early as the 17th century, and the etymology of it is derived from two Greek words, kakistos, worst, and kretos, I can't pronounce Greek word shit, with a literal meaning of government by the worst people. And it's kind of like a blend of, an aristocracy, a plutocracy, kleptocracy, oligarchy. Yeah, it's just like a
aristocrat.
autocratic aristocrat. And then we've got the, tech bros that are doing their thing, and the oligarchs are doing their thing, and then you've got the, Miller thrown in the mix doing his euthanasia thing, or eugenics things. I'm sorry, I can't word well.
That's all right.
So they're carrying out, what people have not clued in on, and oddly enough, the CEO of The Onion is the one who was screaming into the ether. He connected the three dots, and he's like, why is our media not seeing that there's a three-pronged attack? You have this one, and this one. Why are you not reporting it as a single event? Quit, being distracted by each thing as it happens, and connect the dots, people.
Pumpkin Spice Palpatine has actually decided to sue one of the news media outlets.
Oh yeah, of course. And so
the others are trying to curry favor so that they don't get sued.
well, they're capitulating in advance because they are afraid. And that is one of the first and foremost rules that Timothy Snyder wrote in his book on tyranny, is do not obey in advance. And he gives a description of why you do not do this. Wikipedia does not have the entire, 20 points that's in that book. It does, however, list like the most 7 or 8 that are pertinent, with additional clarification and additional insights from Dr. Snyder updated for our situation. And, it's free, under common use. It's on Wikipedia with his, updates that he shared, on his Substack, which is freely available to anyone who wants to sub to it and is not paywalled in any manner.
Nice.
Heather Richardson Cox is another that, she's soothing and calm to listen to, but has a wonderful grasp of, American history. And, you know, she shares what she knows just for knowledge. And no ad sponsors. Her content is not behind a paywall. It's for all who find it useful. And she has done this, and spent a lot of time for years. And her newsletters come out daily unless she needs a break. And then she'll send out a newsletter and say, I'm just taking some time out and share, a happy thought or a picture. And then she'll come back into the game. And she writes them late at night, every night. And they show up in your email first thing in the morning. And you can read them with a cup of coffee. And if you are not, one of those who has time to read or, relies on an audio format, she also reads over those letters herself in the form of a podcast. And it's free to all. I'm just throwing that out into the ether.
Okay. This is an example of how my brain really goes sideways and connects a lot of different things at really weird angles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if there would be a want, not a need, a want for people to read news articles, read them out loud for people to listen to in the background live on a stream, kind of like this. And I'm saying that from the standpoint of once upon a time ago, and I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't remember if it was FDR, if it was Mayor LaGuardia, or one of the I forgot who it was. There was some politician fairly high up who in the, I want to say in the 30s, would get on the microphone and on broadcast radio to the locality read the newspaper to people.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody could get the newspaper, but the vast majority of folks had a radio, which admittedly at the time was rather sophisticated for a lot of folks. TV was not even a thing at this point.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, of all things that I think that I could do that would be something worthwhile, I suddenly thought to myself that, admittedly, I know that I still have, since childhood, a little bit of a lisp. I know that I've got it. And the more tired I get, I recognize the more that it comes out. I know that. That's just a piece of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of wonder if that would be something that people would not necessarily pay for. Tipping would be wonderful, but just to have a voice read through news articles, send a link. Okay, for user blah, 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 here is the article that you linked off, and I don't know.
It's an idea. One thing that I've been doing as I can, and am getting some thanks of gratitude, and thank you for pointing me to this resource, and I appreciate the support, is in various panicked federal subreddits, putting out what I know, explaining. They're like, what is going on? I can't wrap my mind around this. How did this happen? And I'm like, here's a good grasp of the situation. It's, if you're strapped for cash, it's free. to everyone. Here, you can listen to this, you can read this, and it may or may not be helpful. And I said, but to me, if I have a concept or something to call a thing, it helps me to wrap my mind around that thing, and then I can mentally process it. And I said, if you don't find it useful, then don't use it. But if you do, here's your way, here's the link. And I've had people actually check it out or come back and say, yes, I agree. This is a wonderful historian. Listen to her or go read her. And other people were like, I had no idea she was even out there because I'm so wrapped up in, life or whatever. And they've listened to some of her, free live stream, Ask Me Anything, or just general knowledge sessions. And she speaks in a very slow, calming, well articulated, way, because she used to, she was had a doctorate and taught, history at Harvard or wherever. And, she comes across as not panicky and not scary, but well informed. And I love her. I will listen to her in the background while I'm working and, find out things and make, connections and go, oh, I had not thought of that. It may or may not help anybody, but, Mr. Rogers said to look for the helpers. I try to be a helper. And if I have helped one person, it was worth the time. And if someone has thanked me for, sharing what I know or pointing them in a direction, I will reply and thank them for thanking me. I know that I was seen and that I helped. So suddenly I've got like a massive following and some other subs that I don't even blog there, or anything. And, same thing on Substack. I do not post content. I do not write content, but I will restack something if it's, if people are worried about money. Because people are, having to cancel subscriptions and, worried about discretionary income. They're broke. And so it's like, yeah, these people will accept donations if you are able to, but it is not required and nothing is paywalled. It's free to all. Here. Another Substack that I and Tech is aware of. In a Substack, we are celebrating Black History Month the correct way every day with Black history, important Black, people, whether it's on media or philanthropy or whatever. Very well researched, detailed celebration of Black History Month as it should be. Now, people may not see it in public, but I'm pointing people to the Substack and saying, here, it's not behind a paywall. We're doing things.
I got taught about Rosa Parks and some Black history up in Canada as part of general North American, how we created Canada, general U.S.-Canada history. And Rosa Parks was part of it. It was just one little itty-bitty thing. And I was really steamed, but I wasn't the only one steamed. Where I live, one of the cities, the mayor didn't bother to formally declare Rosa Parks Day or that it was Black History Month. And he got his ass handed to him by several members of the public.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I'm very happy with the students protesting in the area as well. One of the teachers was very much MAGA and very much racist. She was protested so much that she's no longer teaching at the moment while they investigate.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
And I'm throwing in relevant Wikipedia links
Yeah.
that you can include in the show notes to things that I'm referring to. Um,
Yeah.
Meidas Touch does a news blog. Yes, Stephanie is right. Sons of Liberty are also fun to listen to because they went on a rant about Muskrat's little itty bitty kits that were helping him.
Yep. Legal AF
mm,
was also listed. Yes.
yeah, but I have to warn you that Sons of Liberty is not safe for work.
Yes, it's not safe for work, but I had so much fun watching their little rant yesterday where they were talking about how they have the DDoS information of every single one of those kids. And they're not the only one. I've seen it on Reddit, at least their names. I've seen it on other sites. Gee, kids, do you think you did the wrong thing by helping Muskrat?
Big Sarge holds no prisoners.
Yeah. Let's also take just a couple of seconds to give a collective fuck you to whoever it is that is a Congress critter who has not brought up charges yet, which means basically all of them, for there being a unilaterally, I'm not going to use the term, and I'm using Heretic Woman scare quotes here, created Department Doge. There is no federal agency. There is no federal agency called Doge. Something like this is something that needs to go through Congress. And if someone is completely circumventing the order of law in order to do all this crazy ass shit, there should be lawyers already laying waste to this group and federal marshals protecting these institutions from being invaded. There is no other word for it. Fuck y'all for not doing your goddamned jobs.
Timothy Snyder, to name drop him again, doesn't use quite salty language. It is safe for work. However, his, I don't know how to even describe it. He has, termed a couple of, names like Trumpo Moscovia that beckons back to Muscovy, which was, the original name of Russia. They're Muscovites, that's their demographic.
Okay.
And, also said roughly 2 or 3 days after the election results that this is regime change. This is happening. The institutions, you have to do your best to hold them up, because the institutions, if they all fall, we have no way to defend ourselves. And he is correct that we have to support the institutions as best we can.
Every single congressman, and I believe every single law enforcement officer, every single person, mayor, commissioner, chair, whatever, all the way up and down the U.S. government, I believe they have one line in the oaths that they take about protecting the U.S. from foreign and domestic.
Uphold and defend the Constitution to the best of my ability, both foreign and domestic. Yep.
Terrors or dangers, foreign and domestic, something like that.
It's uphold and defend the Constitution to the best of my ability against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. So help me God. Or
I so affirm. Yep.
It's basically the same verbiage, with maybe some additional clauses depending on your rank. If you're an officer or whatever, but we've all taken a version of that oath and upheld the right hand and swore or affirmed, or whatever word you want to use, to uphold that to the best of our ability.
Which is one of the reasons why I refuse to take any commission spots. I've actually been asked to sit up on a couple committees, and I refuse to take that oath because I cannot uphold anything about foreign and domestic enemies of the United States, because, I see them when others are going, oh, no, we're perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, Jeff,
well,
why?
I'm just saying that those who are clued in as to what's going on have an obligation to uphold that piece of paper, because if it's dismantled piece by piece, where does that leave us?
Well,
then there is no legal recourse or lawsuits or anything else that will stop it. So we have to do what we can, and it may be just saying something into the ether, railing back at your representative who is supposed to represent you, who is either complicit or a dumbass. You do what you can do as a person, and that's all that you can do. But if you don't try, then you've capitulated, and you have to decide ahead of time at what point do you roll over and give up.
The Republican Party right now is full of Tea Partiers and MAGA. The Tea Partiers are scared of MAGA because MAGA has a bit of, we're not going to be stopped. We're going to go in and we are going to do stuff that, oh yeah, we'll get slapped on the wrist for, but we'll get pardoned.
Well, if there is no rule of law, then where does that leave us? That's another piece.
I have an answer for that.
My husband wants to take me out to the shooting range sometime in the next month so that I know how to shoot the fun stuff that we have here.
I have an answer to that question, though. The rule of law that Bridget is referring to is at the federal level. Theoretically, the Constitution of the United States of America is the end-all, be-all legal writ for what's supposed to have happened across the 50 states plus all of the regions and territories that we have our thumb on the scales of. And if it sounds like I'm a little disgusted by that extra addition, you picked up on it quite correctly. The problem is, if there is a breakdown at the federal level, that now means that we have 50 individual, and forgive me for wording it this way, fiefdoms.
Or victims, or however you pronounce it.
I don't care how you pronounce it.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that will each have control over their individual geographical areas.
That's always how it's been. The United States is actually 50 individual small countries that aren't strong enough to actually be full-size countries. But they could probably do it. At least California could. Maybe take Oregon and Washington with them. That's a powerhouse right there. You take that money out of the Federal Reserve, oops.
Yeah, the thing is,
we're looking at the brink of a civil war. They told us that the power transition would be without violence so long as the left would allow it. So long as the left would allow it. The problem is they have no problems being violent in order to get what they want. Whereas the left just wants to be left alone to do their own thing. Yes, some of them are gun-toting nuts, some of them aren't. But the MAGA are local.
Yeah.
They are crazy. They've done stuff like wear diapers on the outside of their pants. They've worn pads on their ears in order to show solidarity with their Lord and Savior.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
back up to that one for just
Let's
one
back up
second
to-
again.
For those who are still religious, just toss this out into ether. Go back and read the book of Revelation and focus on, the the horn and mouthpiece and wherever you want to go with that, and for what you will.
Yeah, and
Stephanie's saying the felon cannot pardon state law violators.
true.
Until he can. Until he decides he can.
No, he can't. He can't. He legally cannot.
Well,
Legally, no, but
He can try.
He could try, but
What I'm finding hilarious is some of them have ended up right back in jail because they've got state warrants against them.
and some of them have ended up being what's in the medical industry, it's called stable. Some of them have become stable because they got into violent confrontations with constabulary members, and it did not go well for some of them. Therefore, they have become stable.
Organ donors?
The reason why the expression is that someone is medically stable is because, as Sam Mulvey put it quite accurately so, there's very little state change that can happen in such a person. So,
and entropy does what it does.
It does. It very much does.
It's just the irony. They were safer where they were unpardoned than they were out in the general public.
Yeah, that's true too.
There is a heavy irony for that. And, I hadn't thought about it in those terms, but damn, that's completely accurate.
The irony, they were safer where they were. We were safer where they were.
That's true. I don't want to give these people credit, but I'm going to say credit where credit is due. I had heard that there was a non-zero number of people who decided not to accept the pardon and
One
remain,
of them was a grandmother.
And remain in jail.
She said she did not want to accept the pardon because she realized what she did was wrong. I commend her.
Yes.
Good girl.
Yes. And
she's accepting her punishment like she should. She'll be free when she's supposed to be free if that's part of the sentence. She'll probably end up on probation for the rest of her life, but she got sentenced and she's refused the pardon. Good for her. She understands. It's all the ones that are like, I'm free, I can do what I want, ha ha ha, and they end up right back in jail or organ donors.
Yeah, Bridget, if you accept a pardon from the president, what does that say about your guilt?
If you accept a pardon, you're acknowledging that you're guilty of something that needs forgiveness or pardoning.
So, all these people that decided that they were fine, we'll take it, and I'll get out of jail now, and everything's all good, does that tacitly mean that they acknowledge that they did a bad thing, they did something wrong, and that they hold that as part of their lifetime forever and ever? Amen?
Well, no, it's only for that one incident of them being naughty. Which
I'm trying to multitask here, and I'll suck at that.
Same. I finished the second clue. I've tucked in the threads. I haven't cut the threads of the stuff that I'm done with, but I've showed it off on Ravelry, and people are commenting, "Oh, so gorgeous." Hey, there's so much stress in the United States right now, hell, in the world, that I am more than certain that crafting is going to come back with a surge because people are feeling anxiety and they need some way to keep themselves calm, to control that one little bit of their life so that they don't go woo, 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 woo.
Yep, self-care is very important. And, when it's time to step back and recharge your batteries and do some, self-care and comfort, then you do that. Because if you have nothing left to give, you cannot engage and push back. When you're empty, you're empty.
Yep.
One of the things that I've been doing is I've made 2 kitty hats. They're both pink. One of them fluoresces pink and green because the color's stupid. Lion Brand, thank you so much for that. The other one, under UV light, it will flash all sorts of colors. So, protest hats. And I've gotten somebody else saying, hey, I've got this protest hat. Why didn't you make that? So I'm thinking about making that one next. It's basically a middle finger hat. It's rows of middle fingers.
Oh, I love it. That's creative.
Why am I making these hats? Because I need to protest. I know a place around town that's willing to sell my stuff for me. And all I have to do is properly label it. And she'll put it out. And she's going to take 20%. I'm providing the stock. All she has to do is display it and maybe sell it. And it's helping me with my anxiety, and I'm basically showing, hey, you can't get a good girl down. I'm gonna be protesting and protesting. I have to be really, really careful. I cannot get arrested at protests or arrested for anything. That happens, well, I guess I'm going to be going back to camp.
Yeah.
So,
got reason to be concerned.
But doing this, American citizens can wear my stuff, and they can be happy and show their support.
Yeah.
And the more I sell, the more yarn I can get, the more I can make, the more I can sell.
Yep, fair enough. And for folks to kind of think about things that are like, what can I do to keep my mind occupied on stuff while we've only got a couple more minutes. When my kid was back during the winter for break, we found a little something or other that we had bought for him a number of years ago now. This is the Adafruit Neotrellis M4 Express. You don't need to know a hell of a lot of much of anything about it. It is one of these, it's kind of difficult to see it if it's got all these things going on. Oh, look, in the reflection, you can kind of see your all selves because there's the camera. It is basically just a little, I don't even want to call it a bread box. It is a programmable unit that hooks in with USB for power. It has a couple of things on here, headphone jack, because it can do audio and whatnot. And it's one of those things where you can learn to program it. It's a pretty cool piece. I've tried to get some time to learn how to do a couple of things, but I've been a little bit busy otherwise in my head trying to do stuff. For those of you that are wondering, what's so special? One of the simplest things about it, because it's got the four rows of buttons, it'll do sounds. It's an octave across in different ways that the sounds come through. And apparently one of the cool things that you can do with it, you can set it up to be a soundboard. So there is an example system so that each of these buttons will light up different colors, and each button will be a different sound effect, like almost all of the sound effects from the original Star Trek series. Somebody has got all the code and everything so that all you need to do is just plug it in for your USB, mount the drive, and dump the code onto it. And, of course, subsequently the sound effects. If you've got the sound effects, guess who's got the CD with all the sound effects? Because I'm a nerd.
That would
way.
be you.
That'd be me.
Yeah.
That'd be me.
Nerd.
Nerd.
But
Geek.
but the best part about it is, believe it or not, it's a very simple unit to use. I mean, simple. You talk about it simple now these days, but I mean, yes, you have to pay for the circuit board and the little plastic, button things that go on it, but all the rest of the housing and whatnot, you can 3D print that, because they've got the availability for you to be able to do that, and you learn a whole bunch of different things about electronics and programming and how to link this with a whole bunch of other things. If that's something that appeals to you, cool. It's not a huge outlay of money. If I remember right, I think it's like less than $50 for like the entire kit. And, if that's something that helps you keep your mind, going well, cool. My bigger thing is building home servers, but that's a whole other thing. But that's just me, because me, nerd.
Yeah, my husband is the same thing.
Nerd. My advice about going forward, if you go to protests, don't wear contacts. Don't wear anything that could identify you at a distance, like hoodies with words on them. Hoodies that have graphic on them. The simple black or gray hoodie might be the best.
Yep.
Keep your head covered. Keep your mask on. Keep your sunglasses on. Or glasses. Bring milk, water, and tennis balls.
And an extra set of clothing in a backpack, because if you do happen to get sprayed with any agents, you need to remove them quickly, wash yourself with cold water, and put on fresh clothing, and take the other ones and put them in a bag until you can handle them. Do not wash them for at least a week.
The milk is supposed to neutralize the pepper spray and other chemical if it goes into your eyes.
However, washing the laundry when you get it home, you have to give it 7 days before you wash it in the washing machine.
Yeah. The tennis balls are because police dogs are trained on tennis balls as a reward. Don't throw them, roll them. And don't don't roll them at the dog, roll it across the line. And the dogs will go, huh?
Yep.
It distracts them.
And
Don't ask me how I know this.
And if I remember right, weren't there 3D forms that were available to print that were intended for people during protests to get smoke grenades and cover them so that you could dump a water bottle on top of it to neutralize it? I think I kind of remember something like that.
There probably is. You could also, I don't know, the grabber thing that they use for tossing tennis balls for dogs. You could probably use that, or a hockey stick, or a lacrosse stick. Wham! Send it back at them.
A Hyali basket. Ooh.
That's pretty creative.
You can't wear Kevlar armor, because at that point in time they'll look at you as if you are
combatant. Yeah,
combatant. But pickle barrel, especially if you're a medic, is kind of okay.
I'm sorry, pickle barrel?
Pickle barrel is the armor, the base armor that the Society for Creative Anachronism used to use forever. In fact, you start off with pickle barrel, and as you become a good fighter, you get into the metal armor. It's the cheap way of being able to fight in the SCA. But that pickle barrel might give you that little bit of protection against rubber bullets, beanbag bullets, in your chest. But leave that for the medics, because the medics need that in order to get to the people that get injured. I had a friend that was dealing with the protests up in Portland, and he was making the armor for the medics. And I actually sent him some money. I couldn't do anything else, but I sent him a little bit of money. I said, here, you're doing the thing that I need you to do, which is to make sure people can leave the protests.
Mm-hmm.
I have a weird question. If you had your body wrapped with, let's say, aluminum foil, maybe very close to your skin, maybe just like a layer of, I don't know, t-shirt deep, would a taser dart electricity go through the very conductive metal instead of through less conductive skin? I kind of figured as much.
Yeah.
I think if you put the tinfoil and have something between you and the tinfoil that's not conductive, I think the taser might not be able to touch you. Maybe. I can't guarantee it. It also depends on where you get hit with the taser.
That's true. That's true.
Is it a long distance taser? Eek. Or is it a close up one?
Yeah, I can see where that would be a little bit of a thing. So, so advocating for things like, I don't know, homemade chainmail might not be such a great idea. That'd be wrong.
Scrap it.
Yeah, the pickle barrel for the medics. Make sure the medics are armored up so that they can go in. Combat medics, make sure they can go in, get the people, get them out.
Yep.
That's
okay.
Because if you're wearing armor, the police will think that you are there to cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
But you can wear padding.
Yeah, you keep yourself safe, but do not be confrontational. And if it starts turning into confrontational, others that are willing to step up, allow that, and make sure that you are keeping an eye out for the people who are there to assist in getting people out. Make sure that you know where they are.
Yeah.
Know who those people are.
Yeah.
And make a plan to be able to get to them.
My friend was armoring up the medics because the medics needed to be able to get the people out.
Mm-hmm.
He was refusing to armor up anybody else. But the medics needed to get in and out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's called triage.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie is pointing something out. Aluminium. Yes, I know. Just give you a second here. Aluminium.
British pronunciation. I'm with you.
Stephanie British, ergo, I'm speaking with their voice. Aluminium is not a good. No, you actually did spell it that way. Okay, I just quickly read it. I didn't actually read it. I knew what the word was supposed to be, so you spelled it correctly.
Aluminium.
You gave me a scare for a second because you went silent and I couldn't hear either you or Bridget. And we had a little bit of a power flicker earlier and we lost the net for a split second. So you just scared me. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we had that happen earlier, and I have no idea because there was no storms in the area, and I was online at the time, and hubby was out running errands, and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to call and let you know the power went out here, and he's on the other side of town. He's like, yeah, it went out over here for, a couple seconds as well, and I'm like, I wonder if it's ineptitude by our utility company, which are very inept, or something else. Just
I think it was a car going ping off of a pole.
Could have been. Just to finish it though, Stephanie had written, aluminium is not a good electrical conductor. You need iron or silver. Is it not a good electrical conductor? Well, compared to skin, it is a far better conductor. And that's really the most important part because like water with gravity, electricity likes to use the least amount of resistance possible. Ask me about the guy that I knew from the ham radio groups that learned it the hard way because he had an RF burn.
Yep, I knew someone who got struck by lightning not just once but twice.
Well,
And he survived, but his weakness was he had I don't remember if it was a Zippo lighter or something in his pocket, and
well, okay then.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just sharing what I know.
no, that's fair. I'm just looking at the time, and I've just realized we've pretty well run out of our time at this point.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just going to mention a couple of items that are from this Wikipedia link, that uh the first point was, do not obey in advance and blah blah blah. He has some new reflections, is beware the one party state, and uh where is his freaking updates? Because he gave new reflections. Yes. Believe in truth. To abandon facts is to abandon freedom. If nothing is true, then no one can criticize power because there is no basis upon which to do so. If nothing is true, then all is spectacle. The biggest wallet pays for the most blinding lights. New reflections. And in our postmodern world, the risk, of course, is when we doubt the truth, when we allow local news to die, when we put a huge amount of epistemic or propaganda power in the hands of a few oligarchs who control media or social media, we're risking a world in which everything is slidey and we have no place to stand. They exploit it, and he name drops, Trump and Vance. They tell big lies, for example. We know about the cats and dogs thing. And listen for dangerous words. Be alert to words, extremism, and terrorism. Be alive to the fatal notions of emergency and exception. Be angry about treacherous use of patriotic vocabulary. New reflections when Trump speaks of the enemy within or the enemies of the people, or when he speaks of the United States and calls us an occupied country. What he's doing is using a language to define the enemy. The enemy is within. It's other Americans. If Trump and Vance are in power, they just invent emergencies, they invent crises, and then they use them to turn us against each other.
Like TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Orangina created the crisis about TikTok to get it banned, and he decided, okay, I'm going to use it to get all these people on my side. Except the smart ones are saying, wait a minute. So he handed it off to his little buddy.
But anyway,
the skipper handed it off to his Gilligan.
I'm just gonna rattle off, and not the narrative, but the important bullet points, is do not obey in advance, to, cede your power, blah, blah, blah. Beware the one-party state. Be wary of paramilitaries. Be reflective if you must be armed. Stand out. Believe in truth. Listen for dangerous words. But his, 20 points are not all listed here on the Wikipedia. But if you can get a copy of On Tyranny and read it, and then subscribe to his Substack to get his new reflections that are addressing this current situation, it's out there, it's accessible. The link that I shared in the host chat is rather lengthy because it's a TLDR whole piece on the guy. And I tried to link to the section that is views on threats to democracy and pursuit of freedom. But anyway, I hope it may be of use to some people. Throwing it out there.
Yeah, not a worry. We'll see what we can do about that. Io, last anything?
Up in Canada, I'm kind of miffed about how Buffy St. Marie has lost her Order of Canada or whatever it was that she had because she's not a real Indian. If you get adopted by the tribe, that makes you a real Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And there's enough with her birth that she might have been the child of, because she was also born during the scoop seasons where they were scooping Indian kids and giving them to white family all over the place. Also, the Canadian NDP, the federal NDP, have sent me the first of their texts saying, "Are you going to vote for Jagmeet Singh?" I said no, because, and I didn't explain why. You know, getting disenfranchised when I should have gotten my vote in time so I could have sent it back. Yeah, if and when I get my ballot, I might just send back a blank one, which is a protest ballot, which is perfectly legal in Canada. You can not vote for anyone and just hand it back in blank, which means, yeah, none of these candidates were acceptable.
Yep, they allow that in Australia too. They have compulsory voting, but not
Oh,
how to. I forget exactly how it's worded, but basically you have to show up to vote. You do not, however, have to place a vote and just hand in a blank ballot.
Status Coup News and the Purge. There was between 3 and 4 million voters / votes that were purged from the presidential election. If those votes had counted, it would have been Harris that won.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard various things about a similar, I don't know if it's the same one, where the conclusions upon research are dubious. So I'm not holding out one way or the other. I would not doubt it otherwise. I do believe that that very easily did happen, but I cannot currently in good conscience say I accept it.
I've included the live that I watched earlier, or the premiere or whatever that I watched earlier, that I told Bridget, "Hey, it's live right now, you have to watch this." But I think poor Bridget was probably doing other stuff. Right, Bridget? But
I don't multitask very well. It's a weakness, but
it's okay. I was
the laser focus is very helpful to my skill set, though.
I was listening to it while I was crocheting, and the people that they attacked the most were the colored people. The darker your skin tone, the less chance you had to vote. And if you were given a provisional ballot, there's a almost 100% chance it was discarded. 3 to 4 million votes gone because of this.
And,
so, yeah.
Yeah, and Stephanie, I was talking about voting for Canada. And Canadian voting system operates a little bit differently. I do believe that they pay a little bit more attention to who's voting.
Yes.
And how the protest votes come in.
When you vote in Canada, you can go to a poll place, have somebody swear and affirm your identity if you have no ID, and you can vote.
So, because Stephanie pointed out, not voting is how the USA got into this mess. Partly, but part of it was also the whole fear, uncertainty, doubt, and anger, frustration, and scapegoating.
Threats to the poll workers, threats to the voters, ballot boxes being destroyed, ballots being thrown out.
And scaring people.
Yeah.
People who are going to be doing the post-mortem of this election for the next 20 years are going to find so much interesting data. And Canada is probably going to have an election sometime in the next year, probably 6 months. Next month, they're voting for the new Liberal leader, who will become automatically the Prime Minister of Canada. So somebody will become the Prime Minister of Canada who has not been voted in for the second time that I know of. I hope the person that they pick is somebody strong enough, with enough backbone, to put the FOTUS in his place.
Yeah, and I'm throwing out some freebies out here just for people who want to subscribe, and everybody already has your data anyway, so what's out there is out there.
All right.
Yeah, I know. He's got all the data. The muskrat has all the data, all the social insurance numbers, social security numbers of all Americans. It's called social insurance number up in Canada. He's got all of those numbers, every single last number, and he wants to pay with crypto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The leopards are eating the MAGA's faces. The leopards are eating the MAGA's faces.
And devaluation of our currency has been said out loud by them on video. That is their goal. They've said it.
Yep.
They've told us.
So, I'm going to leave off with this, because
Wait, Bridget.
Sorry.
Bridget first. Bridget.
I figured what you guys were doing was good enough to close.
We're good trouble. We're busy. We're doing things. We're being Mr. Rogers' helpers too.
No. We're shoes shoulder angels, but we can't figure out which one is the good one and which one's the bad one.
Let's just say I could go both ways. I like to create good trouble.
I can see you both. I can see you both wearing fishnet stockings, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
I have done that before.
I haven't worn fishnet stockings since my 20s.
I actually wore them to work as part of a Halloween costume when I was in the military. We were told that we could dress up. I know. I am that one. I am that special person that every organization has to have. I dress as a Playboy bunny for Halloween. I mean, it was a modest Playboy bunny, but you could get the idea of what I was supposed to be. And had the bunny ears and a big cotton ball that was attached to the back of my skirt because, military, I know that not to push it too far, but I did wear the fishnet stockings and heels.
I like wearing my leather corset for Halloween with one of my bodice tops.
I'm going to close this out with this. Actually, believe it or not, from the picture repository on the Discord server that we've got, one that posted quite a while ago, from a very eminent mind, who said, "Skepticism is dangerous. That's exactly its function, in my view. It is the business of skepticism to be dangerous. And that's why there is a great reluctance to teach it in the schools. That's why you don't find a great fluency in skepticism in the media. On the other hand, how will we negotiate a very perilous future if we don't have the elementary intellectual tools to ask searching questions of those nominally in charge, especially in a democracy?" Carl Sagan knew. He was afraid, and he made sure that people knew what he was afraid of. and rightly so.
I have that book behind me on a bookshelf. If I am remembering correctly, it's the Demon Haunted World.
Mm.
Is that correct?
I don't have it attributed. I just have the quote. But it would not at all surprise me.
Yeah, I believe that is... It's either a Demon Haunted World or the Demon Haunted World. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember, but I do have the book. I have read it. I still have it.
Fair enough.
Read it when it first came out. Yeah.
Alexa, Canada is the most beautiful penthouse suite in the entire neighborhood. Unfortunately, their downstairs neighbors are a meth lab. So they spend their entire lives praying that the neighborhood doesn't get blown to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also remember, the Canadians came down and burned down the executive mansion once before, and as Goofy has said it on many an occasion, I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah, was that 1812 or 1815? I don't remember off the top of my head.
I think it was twice, probably both, but at least 1812.
Yeah,
and the threat is always there. What do you call a Canadian at the White House with a bunch of matches?
An open threat.
Yep.
Yeah, and a fellow Canadian friend that I hang out with in certain spaces came up with a new acronym because everyone is familiar with FAFO, right?
Yes.
It was an FAFOE with an A at the end of it. FAFOA.
You know,
I thought that was brilliant.
I found 2 new versions of MAGA. Make America Go Away. And my favorite one, Mexicans ain't going anywhere.
Ooh. Love it.
that's fair. We're going to have to call it a night because. So, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. As always, we hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives. You got something to think about for the week ahead. Oh, what a week it's about to be. So we'll see how this plays out. Over there in the chat, Lexa, Stephanie, Felis, thank you guys. I did notice that there were a couple of other eyeballs that were listening and paying attention. So to those of you that were there and perhaps didn't chime in, that's okay. Thank you for being part of it all. We appreciate it. Io, thank you kindly. As always, I hope that you have yourself a restful day tomorrow and most of the week ahead.
I've asked somebody to take over my DJing during the daytime so I can rest up. Yeah, it sounds like I've got lots of energy and bounciness, but that's because I've been bouncing off of Bridget.
Oh.
That helps.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think she's my new best friend.
Oh, love you back.
All right, now kiss. Bridget.
Us kiss? Do you honestly expect us to stop at kissing?
Yes. Bridget, thank you very much. You have yourself a good night, a restful day, and of course, who gets the majority of your ire for tonight? Somebody that we haven't mentioned.
This week, I'm going with a special shout out to the brave federal servants in the subreddits who are banding together and memifying the red stapler meme in solidarity. A lot of government workers own red staplers and hoist them with pride and are, thinking of clever ways because, misappropriating government property is a severe penalty, which I could have been court-martialed over if I had inadvertently, left with a dental tool in my pocket in my scrubs or whatever. But they're like, you know what? Grab all the good pens on the way out the door. Take your staplers, things that you care about, do it. And so they're like using a meme of a red stapler as a show of solidarity. I love it. Go red staplers. I got your back. We love you.
Resist.
They are. They're holding the line as best as they can and going, we understand what the consequences are, but we're holding it hard as we can until they remove us.
Resist.
Yes, they are.
Resist.
Good people out there.
Mm-hmm.
We are the resistance.
And let me also throw out a huge, massive thank you to the lawyers and the law firms who are out there, regardless of whatever fees they might be looking to get. I know full well there are a number of them out there that are doing the good deed of going, you know what? This is wrong. This is illegal. And we're going to step in and we're going to safe the institutions that we can.
Yes.
Some of them are doing it pro bono because they can, because they see what the return on it is. And the return on something like that isn't the money. It's the safety and the well-being of the body political. It is us. So for those of you that want to go ahead and say that ambulance chases are bad, you're right. But even some of them are going, this is wrong. Let's pool our efforts together and get this right so that we can chase ambulances on our own time when we don't have to worry about everything else burning around us. Thank you for doing, man. Just thank you for looking out for us. So we'll be on out of here. As the last item, Stephanie is also pointing out Democracy Docket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll make sure that those links are in the show notes because there's always more links to go in the show notes.
That's what show notes are for.
Yeah. If we were... There's at least a dozen or more links in the private group that should actually be in show notes.
And they will be. I'm sure that Shujin's pretty competent and
yeah.
Yes, I am.
I'll be pasting into the show notes as he deems fitting.
Until I get off the phone call once and for all and go, yeah, I think now's about a good time for me. I could go on, but I don't think anybody really needs that. So.
This is the show that never ends.
Oh, yes, it will.
It goes on and on, my friend.
So, thank you all for being with us. We hope that you have...
no, what?
Mute her.
I could, but I'm not going to.
He likes it when I sing, even though I sing off key.
No, he doesn't. We hope that you have yourselves a good week ahead. Please stay safe. Please, in all seriousness from all of us, please watch your mental health. Your emotional health is really, really, really tough to work with right now. And we understand that. We recognize that. And if there's something that you need to do, you need to tune out. Maybe like skip a week. It's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it. We will still be here. Just do what works for you. We really just do want for everybody to be as safe as possible. And who knows? maybe we'll actually have more people watching for change. That'd be really nice. That'd be really nice. So, I don't ever say it. I'll say it this time. Spread the word. Let folks know that we're here. So until next time, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, it is going to be 20 years. I still can't believe it. And I am still in love. Well, Matane Fujin. I love you. I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always. Good night.